Joined by the lovely Keri Krieger. She is an acupuncturist and a Chinese medicine practitioner, and she is going to be joining us at Exhale the Retreat, which is happening in just over 4 short weeks now on the 23rd through to the 26th of October. Now, Keri's here. I'm just going to let her an acupuncturist and Chinese medicine practitioner, and she's joining us at Exhale. And I can't wait to have Keri join us because she is going to be guiding us through some wonderful conversations to deepen our connection to the wisdom of our own bodies. So, welcome, Keri.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
I think
So
this is my first ever live.
really?
I
Oh,
know, how fun.
so exciting. So exciting. Well, we've got a few people joining us now. So hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
Hey,
Um,
Jen.
Tonight's just going to be a nice little fun chat with Keri
hmm
because Keri is joining us at Exhale, and you're going to be guiding us through some lovely conversations around how we can reconnect with the wisdom of our own bodies. So
Yes.
if I reflect back to, we caught up back in January now when I was
hmm
dreaming about creating this retreat, and I was
Yeah.
explaining to you my own situation and how we got to here. And,
Yeah.
you know, you've been in and around my life for quite a while now. And this is just like the perfect opportunity for me to be able to bring you into my world and share your beauty and your wisdom with these beautiful women that are joining us at the retreat. And we just had such a lovely conversation because we really do know that our bodies have so much wisdom in them, but we just don't always listen to it.
We don't always listen. We don't always know how, or we don't know how to translate it. You know, we, we,
Yeah.
we feel aches and pains or twinges or gut feelings or stuff goes wrong. And then we're like, what does that even mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was very excited to hear when we had that conversation that you were creating this beautiful long weekend, and somehow here we are already.
I know. It's only 4 weeks away now, which I
Mm.
can't believe. Like, I'm a pinch myself moment. But like, I'd love to explore and sort of give people a bit of an insight tonight on what it is that they can expect from the sessions with yourself. What are the kinds of things that we're going to be talking about?
Yeah.
Why is this important, and why should anyone actually even care?
Yeah.
But I know all the reasons and answers to that, which is why I've invited you to come and share all that with us. But I
Yeah.
would love you to kind of give us a bit of an insight.
Thank you. Oh, look, well, I should say that I practice acupuncture. So I'm a doctor of Chinese medicine. I've been practicing for a good 20 plus years. And I've worked in health retreats for a long time within that. And I've worked and treated with women in the kind of 30 to 55 age bracket pretty much that whole time. Um, Treating from a Chinese health perspective, women that are in burnout, dealing with stress, and then all of the various health issues that kind of become, unfortunately, part and parcel of that. Whether it's period pain or menstrual health issues or difficulty falling pregnant or the good old peri, which is now kind of on the tip of everyone's tongue and is being talked about in a lot more places now, which is wonderful. And so, in the context of this beautiful retreat, and the context really of what I do most days, and the kind of conversations that I'm having again and again and again with clients, is that we didn't get a healthy, honest, comprehensive understanding or education of how our bodies work. And I'm not even talking about fancy names or chemical pathways. I'm just talking about what the bits are called inside and outside, and literally what they do and why they're there. We really just didn't get a comprehensive education on most of that, unfortunately. And then as life goes through, like I just turned 50, and a lot of this I didn't learn until I was in my 30s. The education we do get is then from the context of pathology and all of the things that have gone wrong and are going wrong. And whilst that might be urgent and necessary at the time of whatever's going on,
Yep.
it doesn't actually really tell us what our body is really trying to say and how we can help ourselves, often with really, really genuinely simple things.
Yeah. Excuse me. I do find, and was my own situation, was that it wasn't until my body was completely screaming at me, falling apart, that you actually then have to do something. And
Yeah.
you're at that pointy end and you're seeing doctors and you're trying to get diagnosis and you're trying to figure out what's wrong. But if you look back, your body has been telling you these signs and
Yeah.
communicating with you for years. But like you said, you don't always actually understand how to interpret it or what it was trying to
No.
say or what it meant. And, you know, for myself, I've had painful periods and endometriosis and all sorts of things right back from my early, you know, teens. And it's layers and layers and layers and layers of that. And eventually your body just goes, enough's enough.
Enough's
But
enough.
but yeah, that's what I'm really excited to have these
Yeah.
conversations with you because,
Yeah.
you know, you're going to bring a very different perspective to the conversation as well. And I love the perspective that you're going to bring because you bring that Chinese element to
Yes.
it and that sort of language, which helps us kind of, I think, root it down in something that is tangible and accessible. So can you give us a bit of an insight into what that might look like?
Yeah. Absolutely. So, talking about that sort of education side of things, yes, we need to know which bit is connected to what other bit, right? But from a Chinese health perspective, we have a non pathological, non things going wrong way to look at what our body is doing and the optimal way that we can be eating, moving, sleeping, you know, all of the kind things that we can be doing for ourselves in a very basic lifestyle way. I think a lot of wellness trends have again educated us in this kind of hype, big end thing where we have to sit on a mountaintop and cancel our entire weeks and only eat green foods on a Tuesday when the, you know, moon is in Pisces. But from a Chinese health perspective, it is it's about the 80% of the things that we do most of the time, which is very boring and very unsexy, but actually very, very effective. And we get to honor our cycle, where we are in the cycle each month, but also where we are in our cycle of our lives. So we'll definitely be going more deeply into that in my sessions so that women can kind of reflect where they are in their life right now and what that might look like from a Chinese health point of view. And again, it's never like 5 things that you have to be doing, but it is really generated from an inside out point of view. And the way that we incorporate lifestyle medicine, the 5 elements, which might sound a little bit out there, but it is really about how we interact with our internal nature and that how that is explored and expressed in our whole life.
Mm. And when we connect with that, you know, the things that I notice as well is that you tend to have more energy
Mm.
because you're not fighting against yourself. Can you kind of give us some insight into what that might look like?
So, and again, often we wait because we've been given a very flimsy education of our bodies, and that education is usually from the context of extreme pain, extreme like issues. We don't pay attention to and notice and act on small things. I'm feeling extra tired this week. Oh, that's right. I'm in this part of my cycle. Oh, you know, I actually need to eat 3 meals a day as opposed to just trying to follow some trend of what I should and shouldn't be eating. And when we do pay attention, just eat that little bit more.
Mm.
Quite often it's actually eating a little bit more, not a little bit less. Getting to bed, you know, half an hour earlier. Like, it sounds so simple, but it is the accumulative effect of those tiny habits that when you understand your personal constitution from a Chinese health point of view, you get to put those key things in place. For some people, food is the absolute tippy top of the list. Other people have got a more strong constitution and can deal with things in a little bit differently. Other people, it'll be sleep, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I've definitely had chats with you about my naps. Like, I'm pretty much a cat in a past life. I can do anything. Give me 10 minutes of sleep and then I'm back and I'm all yours.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And, you know, and what I'm hoping from the women that are going to be experiencing this is that they're going to get a real opportunity to reconnect with themselves because, again, this is something that I think has, you know, influenced us in the way that we, you know, we live and that we operate because as women, we're, you know, doing a lot of things. We're running around, we're raising families, we're running businesses, we've got, you know, careers. Like, the way that we are functioning and operating in society is very different to how our grandparents may have operated and contributed, but we're still trying to do all of those things and still deal with a biology that doesn't necessarily support that. And, you know, having some understanding to be able to work with that so that they can optimize their energy and optimize their vitality and really get reconnected back with themselves, so that when we do hear those niggles and those, you know, that communication from our body, we actually understand what it's trying to tell us and how do we listen to it, and then how do we actually do something about it. Because,
Yes.
you know, I'm tired, but my schedule's full and I've got this thing, and, you know, I'm off to Sydney tomorrow and then I'm presenting at a conference the following day. It's just, you know, yes, I noticed I'm tired, but what my ability to deal with that is in this particular moment, like,
Yeah.
it's kind of, I think, you know, that catch me too. It's always, you know, what do I do with that information, and how do I give myself some permission, or what can I do to kind of ease that tiredness? What are some other tools and techniques and things that I can contribute?
Yeah. And I think you've really touched a really, really poignant point there, which, you know, is possibly the whole point of your beautiful three-day retreat, is that it can feel really, really hard to get off that treadmill, because we have, and I say we because I've definitely been in that place where we have booked everything in 5 minute, you know, allotments.
Yep.
And we didn't consider the fact that we actually need to eat. We didn't consider the fact that, goodness, we might actually need to pee between one Zoom call and the other. Like, it's lunacy. And if that's our idea of productivity, then we really, really actually need someone to sternly come up and ask us to sit down, or perhaps invite us to a 3-day retreat.
Yes. Let's come and take a step back.
Yeah, and it can be like, having worked in health retreats for a really long time, having conversations with, you know, clients, and they're saying it was so hard to finally take that 3 days. Like, the kids were crying and the grandparents didn't understand why they had, and the, you know, the spouse was this and the client had to wait an extra, you know, and after that, like, after they actually got to stop and they actually just got to have one full, complete night's sleep and perhaps a bit of a cry and an actual proper meal that involved protein and greens on the same plate, they're like, oh my God, oh my God. And they don't not want to go home to their kids, and they don't not want to go home to their spouse. And also, there's a bunch of stuff that has to shift. I don't like comparing, you know, human bodies to cars, but I often use this kind of, you know, story, is that if we woke up tomorrow and decided that you wanted to drive all the way to Cairns, which I don't know if anyone knows North Queensland, it is a very, very, very long way away. You wouldn't just get in the car. Like, you wouldn't just wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and just chuck a bag in the back and get in the car. Like, you would not do that. You would understand that it was a very long drive, and you would check the tires and you would check the oil, and you'd probably go, oh yeah, that bit from, you know, Rocky to wherever is a bit shit. I better put an extra tire in, and I better, oh my goodness, okay, you know, what's coming? Do I need a podcast? Do I need snacks? Do I need an iPad for the kids? Like, it would be a whole thing, right? You would check the roads, you'd check the petrol prices, you'd probably do all sorts of things. And, you know, if you just got in the car, people would be like, what the hell? Like, why would you think that you could just drive to Cairns on a whim? You know, that's not a thing. But we do that in ourselves. We just expect ourselves to, you know, do these high-end, like, you know, be corporate people, be a parent, be a spouse, and bring it at that highest level all the time. And it's bonkers. It's actually bonkers.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. But the other thing that I also find, you know, and I know this is a resistance for many of us, is that taking a 3-day retreat seems really self-indulgent. Like, you know, I've got bills to pay, I've got kids to look after, and stepping back and away from our businesses or our careers and our lives seems really self-indulgent. But
Yeah.
the reality is, if we're not doing that and we're not taking that time, as you said, to like pour back into ourselves, we won't go very far. We start to burn out. Or the other thing that
Yeah.
I see is we're chasing the wrong things
Well, I was
because we're
about to
so
say,
distracted.
yeah, yeah. Like, are we even on the right track? Which can be
Mm.
probably quite frightening. But, um,
Yeah.
you know, circling back to that element of having that healthy education, it's not just about bodily functions. It's not just about understanding that our period's going to turn up easily on time, and that, perimenopause isn't going to be a complete shit show. It's also understanding that we actually make better choices when
Mm.
we're well fed. We make better choices when we've had a really good night's sleep. It's not always possible. We've all had those days that you just think, oh dear Lord, okay, protein smoothie in one hand, coffee in the other, and off we go.
Yeah.
That's life also. But we're going to make much, much, much better decisions for ourselves and
Yep.
everybody else if we are coming from an inside out point of view, if we've
Mm.
got tools, if we're fed, if we've got energy of some description.
Yep.
Everything is actually going to be better.
Yeah, and that's one of the big parts of the retreat that I want to really focus on with
Mm,
these women is about helping them expand that window of tolerance.
mm,
Because when we're stressed, when we're hungry, when we're tired, when, we're not feeling great in our bodies, when we're not nourished, our window is getting smaller and smaller, which means that the ability for us to explode becomes a lot higher because it only takes one little thing and we go pop.
yeah,
And, or we are trying not to pop and we're just kind of pushing it down, and that's then fueling and coming up in other ways. But if we can learn tools and resources and understand ourselves, like what do those triggers feel like and how
yeah,
can we then expand that window, we're less likely to fire off, we're more
yeah,
responding rather than reacting, we are more patient with our children, we're more patient with our husbands. Like
yeah,
but we also make better decisions, as you said, because
yeah,
our brains are clearer, but we also then have much more clarity around what we want and what we don't want. So
yeah,
that when someone is asking us a question, we can easily go, that's not for me, or yes, I'm all in, without
yeah,
hesitation, because we
yeah,
already know what our boundaries are. And we then
yeah,
feel resourced and strong enough in ourselves to hold those boundaries. And
yeah,
these are all the things that I know that I've experienced for myself. Like when I was in that completely depleted state,
yeah.
everything just felt too hard. Like,
Everything, yeah. And that's all, that's because it is. It's like
yeah,
you have worn your kidney energy, your
yep,
spleen energy, all of it's out the door.
yep,
And your liver, who is in charge of lots of things, unfortunately, including that ability to say no, these are my edges, this is my yes, this is my no,
mm-hmm,
has just gone to sleep altogether, and is like everything is out.
yep,
And then we have to really build back from that place.
yeah,
And it is, yeah, it is easier. I mean, it feels hard. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but it is easier to stop on the orange light instead of
yeah,
waiting for the red.
yep, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, look, it's going to be an incredible retreat. I'm so
Yeah.
excited about the conversation that you're going to bring,
Yeah.
and I'm really looking forward to the takeaways from that and just that opportunity for these women to really reconnect with their bodies, to really understand what their bodies are trying to say, what each of these, what are the organs functions and how do
Yeah.
they, how do they communicate with? So like when your liver is overloaded, what are some of the things that you'll start to see?
Yeah.
And then what can we do to support it, to kind of
Yeah.
bring everything back into some sort of balance? And
Absolutely.
I think there's some just incredible conversations that we're not always having. And this is an opportunity to do this in a really safe space. You know, as part of the retreat, we're also going to have beautiful yoga practitioner Heidi is going to be
Mm,
guiding us through yoga 2 mornings. We've got sound healing with the lovely Courtney from Heart Resonance. We've got a breath work with Amber Hawken. So we've got some really lovely healing modalities that are going to be introduced to you in a really gentle way so
yeah.
that you can start to experience what these things feel like in your body and
Mm,
how they start to help release all of that tension and that anxiety that we're carrying. Because when we've got all of that built up in our body, and you and I were talking about this just
yeah.
yesterday,
Yeah.
that the little T's and the big T's in our trauma is
Yeah.
that the layering and layering and layering all these little T traumas just build up and build up and build up, and we
Yeah.
don't really understand the space that they're taking up inside
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. And, as yeah, women, we can be very hard on ourselves, and we can set the bar so high. So I think coming to this kind of space where you do have an opportunity to be with yourself and just take, a
Yeah.
short amount of time to feel however it is you're feeling, but also witness in some ways other women that are in a very similar space, possibly,
Yeah.
and just understand that actually the kind of experience you're having isn't because you're not good enough or you haven't done enough. It's just that there's been this build up, like you say, and it is actually really natural and healthy to need to just let some of that go so you've got more space to do the
Yeah.
things that you want to be doing in your life.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where the next round of conversations come in through the retreat, is that creating this space, you've then got internal capacity, and what do we fill
Mm,
it with? And so
yeah.
being really intentional and very deliberate and very discerning about what you choose to allow back into your life. And I think that's just as important, to be really clear about that, because otherwise we can come back to our daily lives and we let all of that stuff back in again, and it's
Yeah.
not really the stuff that we want. So we'll be having conversations around what your dream life looks like. We'll be working through some of
Mm,
my frameworks to then how to actually implement that and create that, and then
really
what
powerful.
that looks like from your business and career perspective. Because if you are wanting to have this particular life, but your business is holding you back or your career is holding you back, then we
Mm,
need to look at what needs to shift there and how we can actually create a business and a career that's
mm.
going to enable the lifestyle that we actually want to live. Because at the
Which
end of
is
the day, that's its
so powerful.
purpose. It's its
So
purpose.
powerful.
You know,
Yeah.
we don't live to work, we work to live. And I had to
Yes.
learn all of this the hard way. And this is
Oh,
where my years and years and years of teasing this out, I've been able
yes.
to create these frameworks to really help you get clear on what it is that you want from your life, and then how you're going to create that through your business and your career to make that happen for you. So
Yeah. It's
super
so
exciting.
powerful to do it from the inside out and not the other way around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, Mel.
Yeah. And we do often do that, go from the
Mm.
outside in, because what's
Mm.
happening is we are getting told this is how we should be running our businesses, and this is the
Mm.
thing you should do, and this is the career ladder you should be climbing, and you should be.
And is it
Whereas this
actually
one,
what you need? No,
no,
perhaps not.
no, and it's often not what you want either. So I'm really excited about that as well. So it's going to be an incredible retreat. It's happening in October, the
Mhm.
23rd to the 26th, in the beautiful Tweed Valley. It's
Mhm.
just over 4 weeks away,
I
which I'm
know.
very excited about. So if you are wanting to join us, there are only 3 spaces left. So jump over into my bio. You'll find a link there where you can check out all the details of the retreat. You can save your space, but I would absolutely love you to come and
Mhm.
join me at Exhale and just take the weekend to relax and really reconnect with you, and go back to your life completely rejuvenated, refreshed, and have so much clearer perspective, because that is going to ripple out into your family and into your life and into your business. And yeah, you won't know yourself when you've left. You will not be the same woman that arrived. I can
It's
guarantee
an
that.
incredibly powerful choice to make. Yeah, I really
Yeah.
look forward to seeing you all there.
Excited. So thank you
Thank
so much for joining me tonight,
you.
Keri. Have a lovely evening, and
And you too.
yeah, we'll see you in 4 weeks.
See you then. Bye, Mel.
Yay. Bye.
Bye, love.